You went to the doctor because something felt wrong. Not a little wrong. Something deeply, consistently, undeniably wrong. Your eyes burned like there was sand behind them. Your mouth was so dry you couldn't finish a sentence without stopping. Your joints ached. Your body felt like it was running on empty every single day. So you did the right thing. You got tested. And then the results came back. And your doctor looked at you and said, "Everything looks normal." And something inside you broke a little. Because normal doesn't match what you feel. Normal doesn't explain why you wake up exhausted after 8 hours of sleep. Normal doesn't explain why your eyes hurt when you open them in the morning. Normal doesn't explain any of it. But the paper says normal. And so you wonder, am I imagining this? You're not. And today I'm going to show you exactly why that happened. Here is what nobody tells you. More tests do not always mean better answers. That sounds wrong. But it's one of the most important things you will hear if you are living with unexplained symptoms after 65. Because some tests, the ones ordered most often, the ones considered standard, can actually mislead you. They can come back completely normal while something real is happening inside your body. And other tests, the ones rarely ordered, the ones most people never hear about, can reveal what has been going on all along. Knowing the difference between these two groups is not just useful. After 65, knowing this difference changes the direction of your care entirely. Stay with me. Here is what so many people experience. You describe your symptoms to your doctor. Dry eyes. Dry mouth. Exhaustion that doesn't lift. Joint pain with no clear cause. Brain fog that makes it hard to think through simple things. Your doctor listens. Orders some tests. And the results come back, and the results say nothing is wrong. So the explanation shifts. Maybe it's aging. Maybe it's stress. Maybe you just need to sleep more. And you leave that appointment carrying something heavier than your symptoms. You leave carrying doubt. About your own body. About your own experience. About whether this is all in your head. It isn't. And here is what I want you to hear right now. It feels like bad luck. It feels like your body chose you randomly for this. But there is a pattern to which tests miss Sjogren syndrome. And once you see that pattern, everything that happened to you starts to make sense. Not bad luck. Wrong tools. And before we go further, I want to give you something right now. Because what I'm about to share in this video is a lot to hold at once. I created a resource called the Symptom Map. It connects the symptoms you are living with to the specific tests most likely to show what's actually happening. Not general information. A direct line between what you feel and what needs to be investigated. So that your next appointment is not another round of explaining yourself. It is a targeted conversation where you walk in knowing exactly what to ask for. Type symptom map in the comments right now and I will get it to you. Then keep watching. Because what comes next is exactly what that map was built around. Let's talk about the 3 tests that most often create that false normal result. The 3 tests that feel like answers, but frequently aren't. The first test I want you to understand is the ANA test. The antinuclear antibody test. You're sent for this one early. It's one of the first things ordered when a doctor suspects something autoimmune might be happening. And that makes sense. If your immune system is attacking your own tissue, this should catch it. That's what you expect. That's what your doctor expects. But here is the problem. A significant number of people with Sjogren syndrome test ANA negative. Or they test weakly positive. And a weak positive? It often gets written off as insignificant. The note in your file says borderline. Or inconclusive. And the investigation stops there. Because the doctor feels reassured. The test didn't raise a flag. But it doesn't stop there. Here's why the ANA misses Sjogren's so often. It was never designed specifically for Sjogren's. It's a broad screening marker. It tests whether antinuclear antibodies are present at all. Not which ones. Not the specific ones associated with Sjogren's. It casts a wide net. And Sjogren's can slip straight through. Especially in the early stages. Especially after 65, when immune system behavior changes in ways that affect how these markers appear. This is where people get stuck. This is where the symptom trail goes cold. Because after a negative ANA, many doctors feel comfortable ruling out autoimmune disease entirely. And if that happens to you, the real investigation never begins. You're not wrong for suspecting something autoimmune. The ANA just didn't have the specificity to show it. Type ANA in the comments right now if this test was part of your story. The second test I want you to understand is the Sjogren's test. The standard dry eye test. You're referred to an eye specialist. Your eyes are burning. They are dry to the point of pain. You can't be in a bright room without discomfort. The specialist places a small strip of paper beneath your lower eyelid. They measure how much moisture your eye produces in 5 minutes. You expect this to confirm what you've been feeling. But this is where it gets worse. Results from the Sjogren's test fluctuate. They shift based on time of day, based on how hydrated you are, based on what medications you're taking, even based on your emotional state during the test. A person with genuine, significant glandular damage can still produce just enough tears on that particular day, at that particular moment, to pass. And they walk out with a result that says, mild, borderline, not severe enough to investigate further. And the specialist moves on. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is what the Sjogren's test cannot tell you at all. It measures quantity, not quality. Not whether the composition of your tear film is breaking down. Not whether the glands responsible for producing tears are structurally damaged. Not whether the oils that stabilize your tears are depleted. Someone can have progressive, measurable glandular deterioration and still produce a number that clears the threshold. And so they leave with the impression that their eyes are fine, while their eyes continue to tell a completely different story. This is why people with real Sjogren's-related eye damage get dismissed at this stage. And this is why they spend years treating symptoms with artificial tears while the underlying cause remains unaddressed. You are not imagining what your eyes feel like. The test just didn't look deep enough. Type normal in the comments if you've ever had a normal eye test result while your eyes were burning. The third test I want you to understand is the standard inflammation panel. ESR and CRP. You come in feeling genuinely unwell. Fatigue that is difficult to describe to someone who hasn't felt it. Joint pain. Brain fog. A heaviness that doesn't lift. Your doctor orders inflammation markers. ESR measures how quickly red blood cells settle. CRP measures a protein the liver releases in response to inflammation. These are useful tests for many conditions. But here is the truth. In Sjogren's syndrome, many people have completely normal ESR and CRP levels. Sjogren's can be causing profound inflammation at a cellular level, a glandular level, and a neurological level, without triggering the kind of systemic response these tests measure. So the results come back clean. And the interpretation follows. Nothing inflammatory is going on. Let's look elsewhere. And after 65, this becomes an even larger problem. Because certain inflammatory responses naturally change with age. The markers that were already unreliable for Sjogren's become even less reliable. And so people are told their inflammation is normal, while their immune system continues to work against them in ways this test was never equipped to detect. This is where years disappear. Not because nothing was happening. Because the test being used couldn't see what was happening. Type missed in the comments if your inflammation panel came back normal while you felt anything but. Now let's talk about what actually works. The 3 tests that look deeper. The 3 tests that reveal what's really going on. The first test you should prioritize is the anti-SSA and anti-SSB antibody panel. Also written as anti-Rho and anti-La. You may have to ask for this one specifically. It is sometimes included in a broader autoimmune workup, but it is often not the first thing ordered. Here is why it matters. These antibodies are not general autoimmune markers like the ANA. They are specifically associated with Sjogren's syndrome. A positive anti-SSA result in someone experiencing dryness, fatigue, joint pain, and neurological symptoms is a meaningful clinical finding. It gives your doctor something concrete and specific to work with. It shifts the conversation from vague autoimmune suspicion to a defined diagnostic direction. And here is something important to understand. Some people with Sjogren's will test negative for these antibodies too. They are called seronegative. This test is necessary. But it is not the full picture on its own. Think of it as a critical piece of the puzzle, not the whole puzzle. If your doctor has not yet ordered this panel, you can say this: I want to rule out autoimmune causes more thoroughly. Can we test specifically for anti-SSA and anti-SSB? Say it exactly like that. Write it down before your appointment if you need to. Those words open a door that your symptoms alone may not have opened. Type SSA in the comments if you have had this test. The second test you should prioritize is the minor salivary gland biopsy. This sounds more involved than it is. A small tissue sample is taken from the inner surface of the lower lip. That's it. It's a brief, local procedure. And what it reveals is something that no blood test can show you. The biopsy looks directly at the tissue. It examines whether immune cells have infiltrated your salivary glands. Clusters of these cells, called lymphocytic foci, are a direct, physical marker of Sjogren syndrome. Not an indirect marker. Not an inference from a blood result. A physical, visible, measurable sign of immune activity attacking your glands. And this matters enormously. Because this test can confirm Sjogren syndrome in people who tested negative on every blood marker. In people who were told their results were inconclusive. In people who were sent home without answers 3, 4, 5 times. The biopsy can still come back positive. After 65, this test carries even more weight. Because antibody levels in the bloodstream can shift as the immune system ages. But glandular damage leaves a physical trace. And that trace does not disappear. It does not normalize. It is there in the tissue, waiting to be seen, if someone is willing to look. Early detection matters here because undetected glandular damage does not reverse itself. If testing has been inconclusive and your symptoms persist, say this: are there deeper tests we can run? Would a minor salivary gland biopsy be appropriate given how long this has been going on? Type biopsy in the comments if you've discussed this test or had it done. The third test you should prioritize is autonomic nerve function testing combined with a skin punch biopsy for small fiber neuropathy. This is where the conversation reaches a level most people have never been taken to. And it may be the most important part of what I share with you today. Because Sjogren syndrome does not stay in the eyes and the mouth. In a significant number of people, it affects the nervous system. Specifically, the small nerve fibers. The ones responsible for pain sensation. The ones responsible for temperature regulation. The ones that control how your heart rate responds to standing up. How your blood pressure behaves. How your body manages basic involuntary functions. When these small fibers are damaged, the symptoms look nothing like classic Sjogren's. They look like burning in the feet or hands. Tingling that comes and goes. Numbness without an obvious cause. Dizziness when you stand. A racing heart at rest. Temperature sensitivity that makes no sense. And because these symptoms don't look like dryness and fatigue, they get categorized separately. Sent to a different specialist. Treated as unrelated. And here is the critical piece. Standard nerve conduction studies do not detect small fiber neuropathy. Standard nerve conduction studies test large nerve fibers. They come back normal. And because they come back normal, the neurological investigation ends. But the small fibers were never tested. A skin punch biopsy counts the density of small nerve fibers in the skin. When that density is reduced, it is a direct, measurable sign of small fiber neuropathy. And autonomic function testing looks at how your nervous system is managing your body's basic regulatory systems. These two tests, together, can reveal systemic nerve involvement that explains symptoms no other test has been able to account for. This is the level of testing where years of unexplained symptoms finally get a name. And missing it keeps people in diagnostic limbo long after they should have had answers. If you are experiencing any neurological symptoms alongside dryness and fatigue, say this: this doesn't match how I feel. I'd like to explore whether nerve involvement could be contributing to my symptoms. Type nerve in the comments if you have experienced tingling, burning, numbness, or dizziness alongside dryness. Look at the comments section right now. Or imagine it, if you're watching this early. You'll see it. Anna. Normal. Missed. Nerve. Years. That word is always there. Years of symptoms. Years of normal results. Years of being told nothing is wrong. That is not a coincidence. That is not bad luck striking people randomly. That is a pattern. A pattern of testing that does not match the disease. It's not that nothing was wrong. It's that the wrong tests were used. And you were never told that. Nobody sat you down and said, some tests are not equipped to find this. Nobody explained that a normal result and a healthy body are not always the same thing. And so you filled in the gap the only way you could. You wondered if you were the problem. You weren't. And if you haven't typed symptom map yet, do it now. Because everything covered in this video, the tests that miss, the tests that matter, the questions to bring to your doctor, it's all connected in one place inside that resource. Type symptom map in the comments and I will send it to you directly. And before you go, I need you to know this. There are early signs that even the best tests on this list can miss completely. Signs that show up before glandular damage is detectable. Before antibodies appear in the bloodstream. Before the biopsy would come back positive. Signs that, if you know what to look for, could change the direction of your care before the damage becomes irreversible. That is what I am going to show you next. You were not imagining it. You were not overreacting. You were not wrong to keep asking questions when the answers didn't match what you felt. You were simply not given the right tools. Now you are.